for Canadians, for the world, and naturally for us in Richmond Hill. Um, we started with the crash of the flight and loss of about 80 Canadians, and then we had COVID hitting us very quickly, and to a large extent, were we prepared for it? No. Did we respond quickly? Yes. Was the response at the first instance always perfect? No. But one of the thing was it was that learning agility that I think Nahid mentioned that really helped us to be able to transition through the through this period. And why learning agility is a very very relevant world is um, as we introduce the programs to be able to deal with COVID-19, it was a lesson learned. It was something that we tabled to be able to take care of the Canadians, take care of the businesses, take care of various sectors under different programs. But the beauty of it was that we managed to tweak it to make sure that we get it right, and we did it very quickly. So the support that came, if you look at it, were and I'm keeping a focus on the federal government. I think the provincial government under the Ford leadership did an amazing job, and we are so proud to have such a strong partner, especially in Ontario, to be able to work. And I'm very happy with the partnership with my counterpart Daisy's office to be able to help us get through this, as well as a close working relationship that we have with the municipality and with Dave Barrows. So going back to the focus on the government of Canada, what we did, we really introduced a set of new emergency responses. And those are highlighted on your left-hand side. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because you are all familiar with it. Because one way or another, it impacted you or it helped you. Whether it was the CERB, Canadian Emergency Response Benefit, started at about 400 and then went to the 500, then it went to 2,000, and then we expanded it, and then once again it was extended to end of August. Now you all heard is going to get extended to end of September with a transition. So as we look at all of these programs, we look at expansion to make sure that we get everybody included and deal with those, the little gaps. And then what we did, we extended, and then we provide a transition, which is to the EI, which you all know. Canadian Emergency Wage Subsidy, I think it's one of the most successful program that the federal government has done and has helped a lot of businesses to stay afloat. The commercial emergency, the commercial rent assistant, it was intended, but it was not as well received and as well embraced as it was with the wage subsidy and as CERB. Student benefit worked out well initially, and then when we got into the next phase with the We Charity, the challenge, and I'm sure some question is going to come, and I look forward to answering those. It kind of got boggled down, and hopefully we're trying to find another ways. And then the emergency business account, another way to make sure that the small businesses gets float, mortgage payment deferral, and a lot of other tax deferral methods to be able to make sure that people have enough funds to be able to get through, and businesses have sufficient fund to be able to get through this. And this is mainly dealing with the operating costs. So those are the programs that the government announced. And then we have really the existing programs that the government enhanced. So the existing program that the government of Canada enhanced was Canada Summer Job. A number of you have participated in the Canada Summer Job. There was a huge, again, expansion and extension went on that. And in our writing, I think there's some numbers that's going to come up later. You're going to see in the tune of 300 jobs were created for the students during these times. Kudos to those organization that they work, and we get 1.2. We usually get about 900, so this year we got about 1.2. New Horizon, um, for seniors, another amazing program that we managed to get. It went into two phase again. For most of these programs, we had to redesign the program to make sure that it fits the COVID. So there was a lot of back and forth with these organizations to see how we can help them redesign the program and also make sure that they have the support they need to be able to hire the students or provide for the seniors. Under emergency community funds, again, that was another program that was expanded. We have a lot of NGOs that fell in the emergency community funds, and we got a lot of funding for them. There, we are putting a report as far as all the fundings that we got under different program that on our next householder that's coming out. And then the increased Canada Child Benefit. This is, again, another existing method that we expanded and extended. EI, as you've all heard, and some of the goods and service tax credit payments that got deferred. But the most important thing is for you to kind of get a sense of, we did two things. We introduced new programs and we enhanced existing programs. But out of that, the most important thing for us was the role that our office played and the role that the amazing staff played. Believe it or not, right after COVID-19, from a 5-day office, we went to 7-day. We started calling stakeholders. As you all aware, the Prime Minister was coming every morning and they were making an announcement. At 11:15, there was an announcement made. And then at 1 o'clock, the ministers came in and they gave the detail of the program. So our role in the office was to make sure that we understand the detail of this program and how it impacts our community, i.e. Richmond Hill. And then based on the stakeholder list that we had to reach out to various stakeholders and say, do you understand this program? Now this program applies to you. Is there anything that's missing? And identifying those gaps that we could communicate back to the government on a daily basis. So we had 3 calls from 4:30 to 5:30, then another 5:30 to 6:30, and sometimes we had a 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock call, which was focused on being able to get feedback from the community and give it to the government. And this is about the agility part that we really we can actually use this in all aspects of government, how government works. That those feedback, those gaps came in, and we quickly turned it back and gave it to the government, and government managed to be able to give us the next iteration of the okay, so next iteration of the program. Okay, so that's a nice segue for you guys to hear, to get a sense of what really happened in our life. So yeah, I won't spend more than a minute. As I said, we're going to send you guys these slides if you guys want it. So March for us was a panic. We had to shut the office down. We had to make sure that all our staff is, number one, safe and they're from home, and they are equipped to be able to respond and advocate. So I just want you to think that there are 5 staff working in the office. They have their own phone numbers. And now all of a sudden we had to make sure that they go on home and they have the appropriate equipment and they be able to connect. So getting communication, getting connection, getting offices set up virtually, but also responding to over 500 phone calls. Sohaila, Celia, Jordan, Ali, Michelle, these guys were working overtime. I mean, we were getting emails at 1 o'clock in the morning because that's the time that people were sitting down and saying, hey, look, you know what, how about this? And they reached out to the office. I think I'm at 12 minutes. And Marge, how much more time can you give me? I'll go through one more slide.
Yeah, no, talk for another 5 minutes. This is
Oh,
interesting.
okay. Okay. So
People,
then from a panic point of view, we went into a support model when we kind of settled and we said, okay, so let's start looking at our correspondence. And we broke our correspondence into two areas. One was communication, which was written correspondence by mail or by email. The other one was social media correspondence that was coming to us. We typically don't respond to social media as a means because there's a lot of private information is coming in, but we made the various small exceptions to be able to kind of channel them. We started doing a lot of phone calls and the new programs had to be set up. We hit the tax season and we always had a tax program available for seniors that had to get delayed. So we had to help them find alternative because those were the one that they were vulnerable and they financially needed assistance. So there was a lot of channeling was going on. CERB was introduced and a lot of program was introduced. And what we had to do, we had to make sure that we equipped ourselves with the knowledge that we needed. So we had the Ottawa staff almost 24/7 monitoring announcement that was coming in. As the announcements was coming in, we really had to prepare ourselves because if there was an announcement about the students, we had to make sure that we know what are the organization that they are educational facing or educational institutions, and who are our key stakeholders to be able to reach out to them. So I want you to imagine that we get a heads up that tomorrow we may be discussing about these three topics, and then the office had to mobilize, making sure that we know who the stakeholders are. So once the announcement is made after 1 o'clock, we had to make sure that we reach to all the key stakeholders and they get their feedback and be ready to be able to highlight the impact and then go and identify areas of the gap. And then we get to the next phase between April and May, which we call it that adaptation, which both from a community as well as our office, what happened was we started, the travel restriction came about, and this is where, to a large extent, everybody starts saying, okay, you know what, there are funds coming, but what's going to happen when the funds end? How about seniors? How about students? How about businesses? So more and more and more programs got introduced, but also this was almost the time that most of our already existing programs that I talked to you about, such as Canada Summer Jobs, such as seniors programs, such as a lot of emergency program that was introduced. Now they were taking shape. They were about to ready to roll out. And what we're seeing is that they needed assistance to be able to modify the program, to be able to incorporate COVID program and COVID support, as well as continue the work that they were doing. So that was the part that really the collaboration between various organizations and our office start forming. And then we start giving feedback again to the government. And we went through that expansion and also extension of the various programs. During the May, as things kind of settle down, and now we're talking about the recovery, then the whole concept of, hey, look, where are we going to get? Well, what is the first thing we need to do? We need to protect our employees. We need to protect our people. We need to protect, our customers that they're coming in. So the whole concept of safety and need for PPE became quite clear. In the meantime, we had a lot of donations from various um, PPE suppliers, and our office, our boardroom, kind of turned into a storage room for all the PPEs that came in, and we started reaching out by certain criteria. We reached out to old age homes. We reached out to, let's say, hospice. We reached out to hospitals. We reached out to all the NGOs that they needed support on the PPEs, and we start getting those PPEs out. We start working with organizations to help them through the Canada Summer Job, and then really the June and July, in August, this is the period that we are in. And we started thinking about how do we support them during the reopening. And this was a close working with the municipality. So there was a recovery task force that we were part of it. I think all the levels were part of it. The municipality, naturally, provincially, we had both MPPs in Richmond Hill joining us, and both MPs were there to make sure that we understand the needs to be able to get what's needed. So just some quick highlights of what we've done on the New Horizon. We typically get around 7 to probably 8 organization. This year we managed to advocate for about 11 organization. Usually get about 150 max. We got about $230,000. We are still finalizing the number. We have anywhere in the 300 students, but as I told you, we got 1.2. We usually get about 920. Under Canada Emergency Community Service Funds, we've got money for mental health. So Home on the Hill got some money. There are a lot of announcements is going to come shortly. All the counseling services, sheltering, a lot of funding came out of there. And we dealt with a lot of cases. We dealt with about 5,000 correspondents. We had that's almost about 1,000 a month. And so if you think of it, these are directly reaching out to individuals to see how we can help them. And I'm not going to cover the phone calls because I think Sohaila is going to tell me that I done an injustice on what she's done. But I want to close by saying that honestly, without our staff, we would have not been able to get through this. So first of all, I'd like to acknowledge the staff at the office. Also, I'd like to thank the community. I think the fact that we don't have the huge numbers that exist in other municipalities is a testimony to how well our community has managed and has dealt um, with the COVID-19. Our office is going to a little bit of a fiscal restructuring. We're waiting for a couple of other pieces to come in to put plexiglasses in, and then we're going to open up. All the staffs are in, they're working, they're following social distancing. We've all gone to Mackenzie Health, excellent service. We all got tested, and we are now accepting by appointment. And prior to the appointment, we asked them to give us some information to make sure that they haven't had any issues. And we're hoping that probably by, after the Labor Day, we would be fully operational, that we could accept people, but still would be appointment, and we follow the Health Canada guideline. And I thank Marjan, all of you, for giving me extra time to be able to kind of quickly go through. I'm open to any questions that you have.